Forehand Drive, Level 15, Technique Lesson 2. In this video, I'll be introducing you to the follow-through on the forehand drive. Up until this point, you'll have had a lot of practice simply lifting the ball onto the front wall with an open racket face and cocked wrist. In this lesson, we'll be building upon those habits that you've developed. Now you may be wondering why the follow-through is so important. I mean, it occurs well after the ball has left the strings, which might lead you to think that it doesn't really matter. The interesting thing is, when you focus on sending your racket, and therefore the ball, in the direction that you want it to go, as you perform your swing, your body will make minor adjustments to make it happen. I recently finished reading the book, The Inner Game of Tennis, which spends a lot of time explaining this phenomenon. It's a really interesting and worthwhile read for squash players, so I'll leave a link to that book in the description in case anyone wants to support my channel through Amazon affiliation. Anyway, let's get started. In preparation, just like we did in Level 4, hold out the racket in front of you, open it slightly, grip it like you're about to give someone a handshake, and then cock your wrist. Hold the racket out in front of you at roughly a 45-degree angle. The face should be open and your wrist cocked. The first thing I want you to keep in mind is to keep your arms straight throughout this entire swing. As I introduce more advanced techniques, this will change, but for now, just keep it straight. To complete the follow-through, try and keep the center of the racket pointing directly at your target as long as possible. At some point, your wrist will need to break, and at that point, let the head of the racket release and point directly at your target. The main thing to focus on here is that at the start of your swing, your wrist is cocked and the racket is parallel to the ground, and at the end, the racket head is pointing directly where you want the ball to go. If you can do those two things correctly, the rest of this technique will fall into place over time. I'll show you a few examples of how your swing should look for the next few challenges. Notice how easy it becomes to hit the ball consistently when I focus on the follow-through. After you've given this technique a try a few times without the ball, go ahead and move on to level 16. As always, I'll leave a link to level 16 at the end of this video once it becomes available, or you can subscribe to be notified.